Hi, everyone. It's 4 o'clock. I'm Larry Wheeler, the Secretary-Treasurer. We have no regrets. We have a full committee today of the 5 members. First order of business is the appointment of a chairperson. It's moved by Bob Stanners, seconded by Jeff Doomering, that Dennis Cuomo be our chairman today. I have a recommendation here that Township of Mapleton Committee of Adjustment appoint member Dennis Cuomo to the position of chairperson for today's Committee of Adjustment hearing. Votes, please. Okay. That's everybody. Thank you. Next, we hand it over to Dennis.
Okay. So do we have a call for a deferral or withdrawal of any of the matters before the committee?
No.
No? Okay. Is there any change to the order of the hearings as they are in the agenda?
No.
No. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Jeff?
Yeah, Dennis, application 2026-04 is a competing builder, and I'm going to excuse myself.
Okay, we'll note that. All right, so moving on to the minutes of the previous meeting. So we have our Committee of Adjustment minutes dated March 11th, 2026. Trust everyone has had a chance to review them, and there is a motion here that the minutes of the Township of Mapleton Committee of Adjustment meeting held on March 11th, 2026 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Anybody have any comments or wish to move that recommendation? Okay. Okay, so if
And I think Jeff was absent at that, so that's those
Okay.
movers and seconders
Okay.
are fine.
Okay,
Did you move that? Thanks.
Yes.
okay, so Peg and Ed. All
Peg
right.
and Ed? Thanks.
Yep. Do we have any matters arising from those minutes? None? Okay, so we will move on to our hearings then for today. So hearing 5-1 is hearing number A 2026-06. The location of the subject property is legally described as east part of Lot 18, concession 10P, and is municipally known as 7288 Wellington Road 8. The subject property is 40.3 hectares in size and is occupied by a dwelling and a dairy farm operation. The purpose and effect of the variance application is to provide relief from the minimum setback to a natural environment zone. The applicants are proposing a new feed room and feed bunkers within the farm cluster and cannot meet the required 30-meter setback from the existing any zone. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. We have a statement from the Secretary-Treasurer regarding any notifications or comments received to date.
Thanks, Dennis. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice. Comment summaries included in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed on April 1st. County of Wellington Roads comments were received on April 2nd. No concerns expressed. Source water comments from Jordan Grigg were received on April 7th. The property is located in a vulnerable area, but no concerns were expressed. County of Wellington planner comments from student planner L. Quillaton were received April 8th, and they're attached. And the GRCA comments from their resource planner, Jessica Conway, were received, and they are attached too. Thank you.
Can we have the comments from the town planner, Linda Redmond, please?
Thank you, Chair. I think it's clear what's happening. They're just proposing some new buildings for their farm operation. They cannot meet the 30-meter setback to the natural environment zone. The natural environment zone protects floodlands, hazard lands from a stream that the GRCA regulates. The GRCA has already endorsed this, and they have no concerns with the required setback, or with the setback proposed. So given that, we have no concerns with the reduction to that setback as well.
Okay, so if the owner, Russell Gingrich, or the applicant, ADS Cleon Martin, wish to introduce themselves and speak to the application, you can do so now.
I'm Cleon Martin. I'm the agent representing this application, well laid out by the planner. I'm here just to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Okay. So are there any of those attending that wish to speak to the proposal? You may do so now if you give your name and your address to planning staff. Anybody with any comments? None? Okay, so I guess that would mean that do we have any questions then from any interested persons to the owner or the applicant right now? None? So I'll turn it over to committee members. So are there any questions from members of the committee to the owner or the applicant, or any clarifications from the planner regarding the application? None? Okay. In terms of hearing resolution, the committee can either grant, refuse, defer, or reserve an application, and must set out the reasons for such a decision. So the four tests that we are to consider are: is the variance minor in nature? Is the variance requested desirable for the appropriate development or use of lands, buildings, or structure? Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? And does the variance maintain the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw? So in considering those tests, there's a recommendation that has been put forward here. That is, that the minor variance applied for in application A 2026-06, located at East Part Lot 18, concession 10P, municipally known as 7288 Wellington Road 8, to provide the following relief as proposed on natural environment zone setback, section 6.20.1A, proposed feed room bunkers. So feed room requires 30 meters. The proposal's 10.75 meters for a difference of 19.25 meters. And for the new feed bunkers, the requirement is 30 meters. The proposal is for 17.19 meters, a difference of 12.81 meters. And so would someone like to put forward one of the options for this recommendation? Okay, so we have Member Sheik putting forth the recommendation as stated. Doomering is seconding. Can we have a show of hands? That motion passes. So we will we'll circulate the decision sheet, and we will conclude minor variance hearing A 2026-06 at this point. right, so the next hearing is A 2026-07. Location of the subject property is legally described as East Part Lot 19, Concession 15P, and is municipally known as 7253 14th Line. Subject property is 40 hectares in size and is occupied by a residence and a dairy farm operation. Purpose and effect of the variance application is to provide relief from the minimum distance separation 2, MDS 2, from an interior side yard setback. The applicants are proposing to construct an addition onto the existing barn and are seeking an MDS 2 setback of 13 meters, whereas 24 meters is required from an interior side yard. The required MDS relief will facilitate the addition. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. Do we have any notifications and comments that have been received? Larry?
Which one are we on here? We're on A 2026-07?
Yep.
Okay. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice on or before March 31st. There's a comment summary in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed on April 1st. Source water comments from Risk Management Inspector Jordan Craig were received. Property is located in a vulnerable area, but no concerns were expressed. County of Wellington planner comments from the student planner were received and are there attached. And the GRCA comments from resource planner Jessica Conroy were received and they are attached. Thank you.
Do we have any comments from Township Planner Linda Redmond on this application? Oh. No, Linda. So any comments from the Township Planner on this application? All right.
So just further, this is a minor adjustment to the setback to the side yard. We have no concerns. This is 07 we're on, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no concerns with it.
Okay, so is the owner of Volcano Farms Limited or the applicant HFH Inc., Dave Good, present? Would they like to introduce themselves and speak to the application?
Good afternoon, Dave Good with HFH, and willing to answer any questions that may arise.
And I'm Peter Faulkner, one of the owners of the property.
Okay. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak to the proposal as it's been put forward? No one? Okay, so that would mean we have no, do we have any questions from any interested persons? None? Okay, so I'll turn it to any committee members that may have any questions about this application to put to the owner of the applicant or the planner. So, Hagsheet?
Thank you, Chair. I just have a couple of questions. I see by the visual map that there is a manure tank round manure tank on site. So is it of proportionate size, like you don't need another variance coming forward to the committee? Do you have size in your tank to meet the addition of the barn?
We got approved to build a manure storage tank on a different site. So we will be transporting the manure to a different site so that we can have the manure there and then be able to spread it on good time. Right now, when we're transporting manure there, we're really weather dependent, and the guys that haul for us, they're obviously busy when it's dry. So we're building a storage tank on another site so that they can transport the manure there on not their busy time, and then we will spread it on that field.
Anyone else with any questions about the application? Bob?
Thank you, Chair. I only look at this as being built right on the end of the existing barn. The other barn just most likely went through the same process to put it where it is.
Yes.
And now we're just back to, your operation is basically growing. So, yeah, I have no concerns with it. It's pretty much obvious what it is. It's just straight.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. Thank you.
No other questions? Okay, so we'll get to hearing resolution. We're to consider the 4 tests in considering this application, so that the variance is minor in nature. The variance requested is desirable for the appropriate development or use of the lands, buildings, or structure. Variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Variance maintains the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. So the recommendation that's here in front of us is that the minor variance applied for in application A 2026-07, located at East Part Lot 19, Concession 15P, municipally known as 7253 14th Line, and to provide the following relief is for a new or an expanding livestock facility under section 6.17.2. MDS 2 setback to a side yard for a livestock facility. Required distance is 24 meters. The proposed distance is 13 meters for a difference of 11 meters. Someone wish to put forward that recommendation or a different recommendation?
I would move that we grant that recommendation.
Okay, so Jeff to grant, Ed second.
Seconded.
Can we have a vote on that then? Okay. That ends the hearing for minor variance A 2026-07. It's concluded. So moving on to the next hearing for this afternoon. Thank you. The location of this property is legally described as Part Lot 20, Concession 12P, municipally known as 7240 12th Line. Subject property is 20 hectares in size and is vacant. Purpose and effect of the variance application is to provide relief from Section 617-1, the minimum distance separation 1, from the adjacent livestock facility and manure storage. The applicant is proposing to construct a new residential dwelling which does not meet the MDS 1 setbacks of 297 meters to the barn and 368 meters to manure storage, and is asking for a reduction to 257 meters and 354 meters correspondingly. Other variances may be considered where deemed appropriate. We have a statement by the Secretary Treasurer regarding notifications and comments received to date.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice by first-class mail on March 31st. There is a comment summary included in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed April 1st. Source water comments from the Risk Management Inspector were received. The property is located in a vulnerable area, but no concerns were expressed. And there's maps attached. County of Wellington planner comments from the student planner were received, and they're attached. Finally, the GRCA comments from Jessica Conroy were received, and they are attached. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any additional comments from the township planner regarding the application?
Thank you, Chair. The only comment I'll make outside of my comments is if you look on the screen, you can see the aerial map showing the arcs. And it shows you that really there's very limited area on this lot for a dwelling outside of the MDS arcs from the adjacent barn. I think they've done the best they can to locate the house at the best location to meet, have the least impact on the surrounding livestock facility. So I have no concerns with the request.
Okay, are owners Merrill and Leona Martin, or the applicant Merrill Martin, here to introduce themselves and speak further to this application?
I'm Merle, and I'm the owner of the properties.
Okay,
Any questions?
all right. Did you have anything you wish to add to the comments by the planner or anything?
No.
Okay. Is there anybody else here that wants to speak to this proposal this time? Or any questions of the applicant? None? Okay, so I'll open it up then to committee member questions of the owner or applicant, or any clarification from the planner. Do we have any? Bob?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I did a drive-by, and of course, there's no fire number on it yet, simply because there's no structure at that place. Once there is something built, there will be a fire number come up. The posting, I think, was most likely blown off a little red stake, but after a little looking around, I know I was looking at the right property when I did see the neighbor, the applicant's got a few stakes out where he wishes his house to be built, and I think he's pushed that as far as he can away from the MDS separation that so I don't think he could come up with a better location. He's gaining himself a lot of shelter along there whenever he does build his house from an east storm, so I have no concerns. I think it's a great place on the property. Thank you.
Any other comments? Member Sheik?
Through you, Chair, I just have a clarification question for the planner. Is this part of a previous zoning where it would have been retained lands? Like, I'm just looking, looks like a 100 or 200 acre, like the one property off and sometimes when they do a severance on a retained land, like there's no buildings to be on it, do you know what I mean? And I just wondered if this would be the retained land, because it looks like the other portion to the east of it would have been initially part of that farm, and I just wondered if there's any zoning, with severances, sometimes, retained land is not to have buildings. That's my clarification question.
Are you speaking about the surplus farm dwelling severances where the retained lands have to have a restriction put on them to prohibit any residential uses? Well, if that was the case, there'd be a zoning on there to say you can't have a house. They would be in front of council to remove the zoning that restricts it. This is not that case. This is a vacant parcel.
Okay, again, we're at the point where it's up to the committee to consider the 4 tests. And those are, again, whether the variance is minor in nature, whether the variance requested is desirable for the appropriate development or use of the lands, buildings, or structure, whether the variance maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan, and whether the variance maintains the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. So there has been a recommendation put forward here, which is that the minor variance applied for in application A 2026-08, located at West Part Lot 20, concession 12P, to provide the following relief as proposed. MDS 1, section 6.17.1, MDS 1 setback from 7248 12th line. And so, and in addition, a distance from a livestock facility, the required distance is 297 meters, proposed distance 257 meters, for a difference of 40 meters. Distance from manure storage, 368 meters, proposed is 354 meters, for a difference of 14 meters. Would someone like to put forward a motion regarding the application? Okay,
I'll second it.
Bob and Peg Sheik, second. Can we have a show of hands then? Okay. All right, so that matter is concluded, and hearing for variance A 2026-08 is now concluded. Okay, moving on to hearing number 8, 2026-09. Location of this subject property is legally described as Part Lot 15, Concession 9M, and is municipally known as 7074 Side Road 15. Subject property is 45.6 hectares in size is occupied by a dwelling and livestock farm operation. The purpose and effect of the variance application is to provide relief from the minimum setback to a natural environment NE zone. The applicants are proposing a new liquid manure tank and cannot meet the required 30-meter setback from the existing NE zone. Other variances such as buffer setbacks may be considered where deemed appropriate. Do you have any, could we get a statement then from the Secretary Treasurer regarding notifications and comments received to date?
Thank you, Dennis. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice on March 31st. There's a comment summary included in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed April 1st. Source water comments from the Risk Management Inspector are received, and there no concerns were raised. And the County of Wellington Planner comments from the Student Planner were received, and they are attached. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any comments from Township Planner Linda Redmond on this application?
Thank you, Chair. No concerns with the request. I would like to point out, which I think is really important in this case, this manure tank is replacing an existing manure pile, and the pile is leaching into the adjacent watercourse. So this is a huge environmental improvement for the lands, and no concerns. GRCA has already issued their permit and given approval of the location, so we have no concerns with it at all.
Okay, thank you. So is the owner Bradley or Donna Martin or the applicant ADS Cleon Martin here again to introduce themselves to speak to this application?
I'm Cleon Martin. I'm the agent on this application. With me is Brad Martin, owner of the property. We have no further comments, other than a welcome home to committee member Doomering. I just found out that this is where you grew up. And so, special interest there. No further comments.
All right. So is there anyone else here attending that wishes to speak to this proposal? You can please stand up, give your name. Okay, there does not appear to be anyone. So that would mean no questions from any interested persons. Amongst committee members, does anybody have a question regarding this application? Member Doomering.
I just have a comment that I feel that the GRC has already submitted their permit, like Linda mentioned, and I don't have any concerns with it.
Okay. Yep, Stanners.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is Mallet Creek, which is one of the tributaries of the Conestoga. It's right at the top end of one of the parts of one of the arms of Conestoga Lake. And for the applicant to come forward and say, hey, I want to fix a problem, this is a bonus to the watershed. This water gets used by the next person, and it's going to greatly help keep this, the watershed a lot cleaner. So I have no concerns. I wish we had some way of going out in the township and nailing a few other ones like this. This is a bonus to the watershed. So Cleon and applicant, thank you for moving forward on this. Much appreciated on my part.
Okay. Any other?
I always like to see an improvement with manure storage. I would like to see it out of the GRCA screening and closer to the barn, but if the GRCA is okay with it, then I'm fine with it too.
Okay, is that it? All right, so once more, it's up to the committee to consider the 4 tests of whether the variance is minor in nature, whether the variance requested is desirable for the appropriate development or use of the lands, building, or structure, whether the variance maintains the general interest and purpose of the official plan, whether the variance maintains the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. So we have a recommendation here that the minor variance applied for in application A 2025-09, located at Part Lot 15, Concession 9M, and municipally known as 7074 Side Road 15, to provide the following relief as proposed. Natural Environment Zone setback, Section 620.1A, for a new liquid manure tank, required distance 30 meters, proposed distance of 4.5 meters, for a difference of 25.5 meters. Can we have a recommendation? Okay, Ed?
Move to grant the request.
Move to grant. Seconder, Doomerang? Okay. Show of hands? All right. Granted. So that would conclude that hearing. Oh, that's wrong. moving on to hearing A 2026 /04. The location of the subject property is described as Part Lot 1, Concession 10P, Registered Plan 61R 22767, Parts 1 and 2, with a frontage on Maple Street in Drayton. Subject property is approximately 5,000 meters square and is vacant. Purpose and effect is to provide relief from the minimum lot area per unit, the minimum frontage per unit, and allow a maximum of 8 units in a row. Applicants are proposing to construct street townhouse units and are requesting the variances in order to facilitate the proposed design. The lands are zoned R3H, which allows street townhouse units as proposed. The applicant is requesting a reduction to the minimum lot area per unit to 180.9 meters squared, whereas 232 meters squared is required. Lot frontages of 5.5 meters, whereas 6.5 meters is required, and an increase in the maximum dwelling units in a row of townhouse units from 6 to 8. Other variances, such as a buffer setbacks, may be considered where deemed appropriate. Can we have a statement by the Secretary Treasurer regarding any notifications or comments received to date? So this is different.
Thank you. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice. There's a comment summary in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed. There's a letter from Rob and Emily Curry dated March 5th. It's attached. Source water comments from Jordan Grigg were received and attached. No concerns expressed. And the County of Wellington student planner comments are attached. Thanks, Dennis.
Okay, so I'll turn it over to the Township Planner, Linda Redmond, for her comments about this application.
Thank you, Chair. At this point, I'm assuming you've all read my comments, so I'm not going to go over them again. It's never fun to have to recommend refusal of something. That's not usually what we try to do. But at this point, I think maybe it's more appropriate for the applicant's planner to do his presentation, because I think there's some modifications being proposed. So I'd like to give him an opportunity to present that to the committee, and then I will respond if that's okay.
Yes, that sounds reasonable. Okay, so get the owner, Sabato Homes, 2754992 Ontario, Inc., or the applicant, MHBC Planning Limited, Pierre Chauvin, to introduce themselves and please speak to the application. Hello,
Hi.
Pierre.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi.
Oh, sorry, Chair Como.
That's fine. Dennis is fine.
My name is Pierre Chauvin. I'm with MHBC Planning, here on behalf of Sabato Homes. Some of you know my client, Abby or Alain. He's built several homes in this area and wishes to propose to build these new townhomes. I'd like to emphasize at the very beginning that this is about affordability, affordable housing. My client wants to build affordable housing. That's what he hears in the market. There's no starter homes available for young families to start and stay and live and stay within your community. Your own children have nowhere to go and stay. This is exactly what this is intended to achieve. And yes, it may be a little smaller than what you're typically used to seeing in terms of a housing product from a townhouse perspective. I would say it's nothing unusual in the market. These are being built at this size and scale. I know for a fact throughout Waterloo region, not just far away. So yes, it may be smaller for what you're used to, but it does work. It does provide for the amenity space, the appropriate size for building envelope and living space, but at a smaller scale, exactly to target the market that we're trying to target. So I just wanted to emphasize that point before I get into it. I did make, and I do want to acknowledge and thank staff. We did meet yesterday, and they made their time available so that we can kind of discuss ways to try to address some of the concerns that Ms. Redmond raised. And we noted in her report, she suggested that perhaps 7 units, or at least reduction of 2 units in total may work. So we just explored that a little bit, and after talking with my client, without getting into all the details of building code, but when you get anything over 6 units, you have to build a parting wall or a firewall, and that's very expensive. And that, again, adds costs. And the whole idea about making this, again, is about affordability. So we're very cost conscious, and that's why if we go to 7, it does add, maybe 1 or 2. In this case, 2 firewalls. What we're proposing is effectively a plan that will only require 1 firewall, because you'll still need that with 8 units. We have adjusted what I call the north and south side of Maple Street, the north side being, we revised it from 8 to 6 units, and adjusted the width of those townhouses to comply with the zoning bylaw in terms of lot frontage. And you can see that but by doing it this way, we provided a lot more buffer between us and the resident who has provided a comment with respect to this application. So I think that may address that issue as well. By doing this as well, though, we've provided for more space for on-street parking. I would acknowledge with an 8-unit town, it's very limited to provide on-street parking. So we did acknowledge that with staff, and by making this change on one side of the road, which you can only really provide parking on one side of the road, we were able to achieve more on-street parking, and I've illustrated that on the plan that you have before you. And when that cul-de-sac is extended, and our client is in talks with the adjacent owner to extend that cul-de-sac onto their lands, we'll be able to provide more on-street parking than what is shown. So we've also, if you note a little minor detail that you may not notice, we've also pushed the buildings back. Mm-hmm. They're really deep, and so now we have 9-meter setback to the garage, actually more than that, 10 meters, enough to provide tandem parking, so 2 parking spaces in the driveway. This is a very common practice in other municipalities. Woolwich does this, Wilmot does this. On smaller lots, they require a 9-meter setback to the garage for this reason, to provide more off-street parking. So that's what we're proposing, and I would suggest that if you do approve this, that you approve this with the condition that because it's not in the recommendation, that the minimum setback to the garage is at least 9 meters to ensure that we build it that way. I just throw that out there. You can do what you want with the recommendation, but I would suggest if you want to see that, that just ensures that that happens. But in my view, this is an appropriate scale and density. This is a low-rise residential type of form. This is no different than what you see just up the road at 19 Andrews Street. There's an existing 9-unit townhouse development on St. Andrews Street, just up the road in the same community. And it does have special zoning provisions, and it allows for the 9 units, but also a reduced frontage of 5.3 meters. So it's not out of character with this community. I'd also suggest that your council has also approved a bylaw and allowed our client to purchase lands from the township to build a semi-detached dwelling on lands in Moorfield that have a similar lot frontage of 5.5 meters. So this is not unusual in the township. I think your bylaw may be out of date, perhaps, with what the current market is going, where the current market is going. I think if we are serious about intensification, if you're serious about protecting farmland, then you want to see more intensification. This is, yes, it's intensification, but I would say it's gentle density. We're providing enough space for parking. providing enough space, amenity space for the future owners here, and we haven't decided whether it's going to be rental or freehold yet. That hasn't been decided. But again, it's meant to be for a starter home. The more if we actually complied with what you have today, and this is, I would suggest, why you have a problem today in your municipality of not having enough housing in this market, is because your bylaw is out of date. Your minimum lot width for single detached is 50 lots, 50 feet wide. That is incredibly wide, and it's unheard of. If you, again, I emphasize the point, if you want to see your children or your grandparents or stay within this community, they have nowhere to go. And this is exactly what we're trying to provide. So I won't get into the details of the 4 tests. I would just submit that I disagree with your planner's comments with respect to the 4 tests. I provided my opinion in my cover letter, which you have. And so happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak to this, or Linda, did you want to provide your comments now?
Sure, I'm happy to speak if the committee. We did receive the revised plan, and I just want to say that the changes made to, I'm going to say that's the west side. I think that's, you referred to it as the north. I'll say west, but I think we're both kind of right, maybe northwest. The reduction, so the variance required to accommodate the 6 units as shown on that plan, or sorry, that's the original one. The one, I think you guys have a hard copy of the proposed changes, yeah. So the new variance required for that side of the road is just a reduction in the lot area. So the number of units and the frontage meets the requirements of the zoning bylaw, and the reduced area is being requested to be reduced by 17 square meters. So from a variance perspective, I don't have any concerns with it. I think it meets the 4 tests. I think it could be considered a minor adjustment because it meets all the other matters. So I really have no concerns. I'm happy to see they've shown some on-street parking on that plan. That's great. No concerns. My comments for the south side or the east side remain the same. I don't think it's minor, the request, and it's a cumulative impact. It's all of the requests all together make it not a minor variance, in my opinion. The comments with respect to our bylaw being out of date, I respectfully disagree. We do allow a multitude of frontages. We have lots that are 40-foot frontage. We have lots that are 30-foot frontage, and this zoning allows 6.5-meter frontage lots, which is quite small. So we do have zoning in our bylaw that does allow a mix of uses and a mix of densities and a mix of housing types already. So we are good there. The issue with this one is that we are getting pressure to build a lot more dense type of development once services are in place and these land and all the lands to the south are able to be developed. We have a lot of pressure from developers that are coming from areas like the KW area, Milton, the GTA, where higher dense development is more, you see it a lot more, but they also have a lot more services. They have transit, they have, they have way more to offer that accommodates the smaller dense type of development. Mapleton isn't there yet. We still, everybody has cars. Most households definitely have more than one. So, there's all kinds of things that we need to make sure we can accommodate as a whole in a neighborhood. And so if we start allowing these really intense developments without the facilities and without the infrastructure to go along with it, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So our approach to these types of highly dense developments, we've been consistent with what we tell people. We want to ensure that they can accommodate all the needs that go with that household. And the position, as I said in my report, it's the cumulative effect of all the variances being asked. It creates a situation that I don't feel is a minor variance to the bylaw.
So do we have, sorry, anyone else here attending who wants to speak to this proposal before we get on to questions from the applicant? And does the owner or applicant
Sorry,
want to
Mr.
respond
Chair.
to any of these questions? Okay.
Can my client speak?
Absolutely.
Okay. There you go, Alan.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm very nervous.
Okay.
But I live here in Drayton, and my family, Remley Homes and us, we started building here in 2019. And then I fell in love with the town. We ended up moving here. We've been building quite a bit on Carriage Crossing. Those are big houses. And then we finished, we start building on Bedell Drive. Those are more semis. And the biggest question I get from parents, because I get usually many families coming together, and if you were to look at some of the houses we build, we are always thinking about putting basement, units to help parents live with the kids, because we are always considering that 2 families now will be able to afford those houses, because they are very expensive. 2 weeks ago, I had a Mennonite family come in with their kids, and they were asking, can we bring the price down below $650? We can't, because the demand is a double car garage, there's a minimum size of the house. And so we've been through those questions over and over the last 5 years, where they want to see small size because that's what they can afford. Right now, as I look around, it's very difficult to see new homes that are smaller, which makes them affordable. The bigger, the more money. So that's where my heart is, because I know how hard it was for me to get my first house when I started. And I always think about those who are trying to get into their first home, and that's where my focus and my hope and trying to do. Unfortunately, size does matter when it comes to that. The bigger the house, the more the money, and I'm trying to see how we can help that in the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So do we have any questions then from members of the committee? Bob?
Thank you, Chair. Getting this piece of paper handed to us today, and I can read all the numbers, but it's 2 complete different proposals. The 6 units do fit on the property from my quick measurements and all this and that, but I think this whole thing should be deferred till we get one set of numbers, because everything in the recommendation is based on 8 units today. This paper is showing us on 6 units. I think it should all be deferred until both sides of that street are all done 6 units. Sorry?
Okay. Okay. So,
Okay.
Paul, have you finished? And then I'll go, and then
Kind
go
of
to
close,
Michelle.
but, so it's just a suggestion that we try to do it all in one thing. Another thing I'm worried about is these back of these units, they face onto that ABC Park. I'd never been there till I took a tour on Saturday. I'm wondering about access. Do they create easements? Like, there's not much width there. Somebody comes in, wants to look after his old lawn, gets a lawn roller, whatever is going on in the backyard. They sure can't cross that ABC Park. I couldn't believe how many little tykes were out on that lawn the other day playing, and I just want the park area to be used as a chance of an accident with all the little people that are on that area. I'm glad to see all these new houses being built, but it just crossed my mind when I seen all these little kids running all over the place, and they're right up to the dirt pile wherever that the future place would be built on. It's just, I think it was my biggest concern, but I just wondered if we can defer it or get all the numbers on one piece of paper and we can say yes or no to both sides of the street at one time. Thank you.
Michelle?
Thank you, through you, Chair. While we've been sitting here and based on the numbers, I've already recreated the decision that you would need to sign with all of the numbers on it. I mean, I'm not trying to sway your decision in any way, shape, or form, but I thought I heard you say to have 6 on both sides? Is that what you're asking for as opposed to 8 on the one? Because that is what they're proposing, 6 on one side and 8 on the other.
Well, I'm just thinking, the 8 on the one side is still going to be a question mark. 6 on both sides, it's something we could solve the whole thing today, right? Or people can say yes or no to the fact of it. If we can do both sides today, it's just a bonus, and he can be shovel-ready in 21 days, right?
Yep, no, I just wanted to, what I heard you say was, so as I'm making notes to change it in real time, I just wanted some clarification, because I can absolutely provide you with the numbers. In fact, they should be on the chart you were provided with.
Peg, did you have a question next?
I have a few questions. Okay, so my first question is, I just want to know what's south of this proposed? Is this the boundary? Is this the urban boundary? No. Planner, through you, Chair, would the planner would like to respond?
So the lands to the south, if you can bring up the aerial, Carl?
Right there.
So that's a farm, but it's in the urban boundary, and then there's two parcels. You can see, like, part of the one furthest south. That's owned by one big developer who's coming in with a huge plan of subdivision. That's all within the urban boundary.
More
May I
questions?
continue? Yep, thanks.
Certainly.
I'm kind of confused. I see that with your drawing that you have parking on the street. Is there parking on the street anywhere else in the designated parking on the street anywhere else in the municipality, in that subdivision?
Everywhere. You can park on the street.
Winter parking?
Oh, I don't know about the winter parking is the same. What is the winter parking here? There is no overnight?
In the zoning bylaw, and we have a parking bylaw that says no to very specific overnight parking during a particular time of year. But otherwise, it's fine.
So they'd have summer parking, spring and fall, but they wouldn't have winter parking overnight, right? Okay. Is there, and I'm not sure, is there a swale at the back of the north or west portion of, when I did a site visit, I thought it looked pretty wet. I didn't know, almost like a swale. Is there a swale designated on that property?
Well, that won't happen until the development, right? So when they come in to do their building permits, they'll be required to provide a grading plan, and they'll provide where their swales would be required and how the water is draining off of their site. That's something that's taken care of at that point in the process.
Thanks. And my last question, or my last comment is, I'm kind of with Bob. I think I'd like to see it, like, seeing this revision today, because I had a lot of questions, but a lot of them have been addressed, but I would like to actually see just what the proposed requested indifference is on both sides, and are we allowed to, like, approve one without approving the other? That's the other question.
I guess the committee can approve whatever they want, ultimately. But I just want to say, I know that, the applicant does want to get going, so, and if you need to defer it to make the best decision, I think that's a great idea. But I also want to say that if you're going to defer it, give a reason, and, you know, if it's just to see what the new, like, just to see it written out what they have already provided to us, that's not helpful.
Any other questions or comments? Ed?
I guess my comments are gonna somewhat mirror what Bob had said. And right now, I'm still a little in the dark as to what it's gonna look like. I can appreciate that Michelle's been able to do it and understand it. In my mind, I'm not quite clear. And so at this point, I don't want to refuse the request, because I think that would complicate things, but I am not ready to grant it in an amended fashion, because I just don't feel comfortable at this point doing that. That's where I'm at.
Chair Kumo, can I respond to that?
Yep.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that we're okay with the deferral, provided it can come back, and then we appreciate that this just landed on not only your lap, but staff's lap, like this afternoon. So certainly happy to defer it, but this is the proposal we want to proceed with. So just to let you know. Okay.
So I'm hearing that, well, we had a couple of suggestions about deferral here. So what would you require from us as far as direction in terms of going forward with a deferral to come forward? The applicant, in terms of reasons, and we also know that the applicants mentioned that they are looking for approval for what they have proposed here. We would just get more time to review it and determine what it means. And so that they would be looking for 14 units, 6 on one side, 8 on the other, with additional setbacks for parking and those sorts of things. So what kind of reasons do we need to provide besides just wanting a bit more time to digest what this application would mean, and how it differs from what the proposal was before?
I think you can put your reasons for deferral as wanting your planning staff to provide comments back on the amended plan with the amended variances requested. I think the applicant and the applicant's planner have heard loud and clear that 3 of the committee members have indicated that their preference is to see 6 on both sides. So it's up to them what they want to do with that information, and if they want to provide alternatives to that as well and bring that back to the next meeting. So the direction is for staff to review the amended plan and provide comments appropriately for it to the next meeting.
Okay. Before we go there, can I just ask a question of the applicant? So if we're going from 16 units now down to 14, and I've heard that you've mentioned that which you're striving for are affordable housing units, how does, so 14 units keeps you in the affordable range for both sides of the road? Or does it only provide the 8 units at an affordable range and the others are more sort of current market price? I'm just trying to get a sense of what
the cost would be.
reducing the density is doing in terms of this affordability.
Yeah, it's a great question. And Alain's crunched the numbers and just showed me briefly, but he could probably speak to this more eloquently than I have. But with the 8 units, these units could roughly run under $600,000. So that's with the HST rebate, if we can build this and sell them before the end of the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
If we go to 6 units, that number goes up almost to $700,000. So it starts pushing it to, it's still better, but but it's not in that sweet spot. So But we're willing to accept this, what we think is a compromise, but, in order to see some level of affordability come to the community, so.
Okay, I think that should be helpful to the other members of the committee. So I'm hearing that we want to go forward with a motion to defer. Yes, you can.
So I think I would like to see definitely the number of units reduced, but I also think that frontage is also, it would be nice if we could totally just meet the frontage, so that way it would take the cars off the road and onto the prospective properties, and also for snow removal. Because if we have another snow year like this year, there's nowhere to put snow. Like even people in town already were difficulty finding spots to put snow this year. So, and I would like to see that there would be no street parking whatsoever.
Any other comments then before we go forward? So I take it,
Realized, just for clarification, the reason the cars are shown on the road, that's not the required parking for the unit. The units themselves have parking. They have parking in their driveway, and I believe they have a garage. So what they're doing with that plan is they're just showing that there's opportunity for visitor parking or extra parking on the road. This is spots where cars can fit. Because when you start having developments like this where they're so dense and you have driveway after driveway, there's no room on the road to park. So sometimes we'll ask for a parking plan that shows us where there are spots on the road for cars to park. That's all that's doing. That's not the required parking. They have required parking on their own. They're required to have required parking on their own property. And this plan also shows, on the other side where the 8 units are, they're showing a setback, a greater setback than what's required under the bylaw, so that there's maybe potentially room for 2 cars to park in the driveway.
That's happening on both sides, sorry. Then.
Oh, you've done it on both sides?
Yes.
Okay, I stand corrected. They've done it on both sides, so, which is great. We actually talked about that, so that's a really good solution to at least provide additional on-site parking for the occupants of the home.
anything else?
No, I
Mr.
think
Shaw?
Glenn did a great job explaining it. I apologize if that wasn't clear to you when I presented, so.
That's why, just by reading this, it's not real clear,
Yeah,
right? So it
and
would be
that's why
nice
we
to have
say,
it.
if you're more comfortable deferring to give you more time to understand and ask those questions, then we're fine with that. Because I know it's, like again, 11th hour showing this, but we do want to get the right answer. And, yeah, so.
Okay, maybe just an additional piece of information, which may or may not help, but the townhomes that I think were mentioned are there at, just beside the car wash at Wellington Street. And they have these longer driveways where you'll see 2 and 3 cars parked in the driveway, like front to back, plus a garage. So you can see an example, I guess, of what it would be like with those 9 units that are there. It helped me to go back and take a look at those myself, but.
Those units are on this image if you look at it.
Yes.
So, they're right here.
Yes.
And stuff.
So can I go ahead then with, believe we have a, member Stanners put forward a motion that we would defer this on the basis of,
We would need to have perhaps 2 specific reasons to go with that deferral. One being what planners just said, that we want to see the planning staff comments on the amended
on the
plan.
amended plan?
And the other being anything specific you would recommend, Linda? You happy with that? So it's I don't think the motion's done, right?
Okay.
motion to defer.
Mhm.
The reason being we want planning staff comments on the amended plan.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion then from Member Stanners that the committee defers its decision on this application pending further staff comments on the modified plan that was submitted to the committee this afternoon. Does that cover it? Ed?
I think so, Mr. Chair. I think the comments that Bob had made earlier, which was 6 on either side, still apply in my mind as this goes forward. I just want to be clear, that's where my head is at this point. I could be changed, possibly, if they do something different, but that's where I'm leaning at this point. I just want to be very clear in what the reasons are for me supporting the deferral.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Just a comment to their planner. Is this possible this could be turned around by our next scheduled meeting? Right? No problem. Okay, just because, you know, this is building season, right? And I've spent enough winters out in the cold building stuff, and it's a better quality product built when it's this kind of weather. So I'd rather get it moving than go around in circles. Thank you.
Okay, so do I need to run through that motion another time?
You do, so the motion obviously would be to defer, and then you and I can write in here what we're looking for.
Okay. So we're seeking, we have before us then a motion to defer. Application A 2026/04. Pending staff comments on the modified, planning staff comments on the modified drawing and information that was provided to us by the applicant on April 15th, 2026.
Planning staff comments on the modified
Plan,
drawings,
concept plan,
okay, concept plan.
provided by the applicant on April 15th, 2026.
April 15th.
On April 15th, yes. That's today, I think. Mhm.
No problem with, at all, and setting what your expectations are. It's not, because it's going to be deferred, and anybody can have their expectations.
Okay, so that,
I'll just check with Linda,
Yep.
make sure I'm not, the plan.
Okay.
And just to be sure I'm not the word, if you don't mind. Get it right?
The mic, put your mic on.
The chairperson is about to read out Bob's motion to defer pending planning staff comments on the modified concept plan provided by the applicant on April 15th, 2026.
Mic, put your mic on.
motion by Member Stanners to defer the application for A 2026-04, pending planning staff comments on the modified concept plan provided by the applicant on April 15th, 2026.
Do you need a seconder?
Yes. Could I have a seconder?
I'd second that.
Ed?
Okay, Ed. So, all in favor?
Little stroke. Jeff out.
Jeff out.
Declare the
When it comes back,
Mhm.
I may have to. I think when it comes back, I may have to declare a conflict of
Okay, so I guess that would conclude our hearings for today. Just a recap of the upcoming hearing dates. We have a Committee of Adjustment meeting scheduled for May 13th, another June 10th, and the other July 15th. So we can now adjourn this meeting at 5:28.